Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately? Absolutely not. Not gonna happen.
Remember this? Well, it's been happening all season long. Imagine a WNBA legend criticizing the hottest rookie in the game. That's exactly what's happening between Sheryl Swoopes and Caitlin Clark. Here's the reality. Clark's rookie stats are blowing Swoopes' MVP season out of the water. In this video, we'll break down this clash, show all the numbers that's leading to Swoopes' jealousy, and see why Swoopes can't seem to give Clark her flowers.
Sheryl Swoopes was discussing the Indiana Fever on a podcast.
Okay.
And she was like, in the Fever, they've just been tremendous. And she started naming players. And she named like every player except Caitlin Clark. Okay. She wouldn't mention her name.
Yeah, true hater. Yeah.
Swoopes has been taking shots at Clark left and right. On a podcast, she dismissed Clark's college achievements. Then, an old tweet resurfaced where Swoopes questioned Clark's skills. And during key Indiana Fever wins, she pretends as if Caitlin Clark never existed. But guess what? While Swoopes is talking, Clark is breaking records left and right. The ultimate epitome of class, Clark just lets her greatness shine on the court. So why is Swoopes so worked up? Is it just about basketball, or is there something more going on here? Get ready, because we're about to dive into Clark's mind-blowing performances and uncover what's really behind this drama. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Before we dive in, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can bring more basketball content to viewers like you. Are you ready to go behind the scenes on this Swoopes drama? Let's go.
Go ahead and look. Everywhere you turn, Indiana Fever's breaking records. All Sheryl Swoopes did was validate all the speculation that there's folks hating on Caitlin Clark. That's all she did.
Let's dive into those mind-blowing performances. Did you know Clark's rookie season is rewriting the WNBA record books? She's not just breaking records, she's smashing expectations for what a player can achieve, let alone someone in her first year. So why is Swoopes so jealous? We may just have found why by looking at their respective stats. We'll reveal the shocking truth in a bit. Caitlin Clark's rookie year in the WNBA is nothing short of spectacular. She's setting new standards and leaving even seasoned veterans in awe. Clark became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 300 career assists, hitting this milestone in just 35 games. That's not all. She also broke the all-time record for most assists in a single game with an incredible 19 dimes. And guess what? The all-time assist record held by Alyssa Thomas is up next. We're not talking about rookie records here. She's besting feats across the entire league history.
Well, last year Indiana was 10th in pace. Christy Sides telling us Clark.
Some shots.
45 blocks last year, Clark for 3.
But Clark's not just a passer, she's a scoring machine too. In her rookie season, she set the record for the most three-pointers made by a rookie. The previous record? 85, held by Ryan Howard. Clark blew past that. Already at 111 with many games to go, she now has her sights on the all-time record of 128 held by MVP candidate Sabrina Ionescu. That's the kind of performance that makes you stand up and take notice. Now, let's talk about impact. Clark's not just changing the game on the court, she's changing it off the court too. There's something called the Caitlin Clark effect, and it's real. Her games are drawing record audiences. The one thing in common amongst most of the top WNBA games this season? Caitlin Clark. That's huge for women's basketball. Clark's style of play is redefining what we expect from players in the WNBA. She's showcasing a modern game that combines long-range shooting with elite passing. It's a style that's not just effective, it's exciting to watch. And that excitement is translating into more fans, more attention, and more respect for women's basketball as a whole. But here's where things get interesting. Clark's success isn't just impressing fans, it's raising concerns among some established stars. Players like Sheryl Swoopes might be feeling threatened by Clark's rapid rise and the attention she's bringing to the league. It's not hard to see why. When a rookie comes in and starts outperforming veterans, it shakes things up.
Respectfully, Sheryl Swoopes, you have any idea how that makes you look? You have any idea how that serves to stain any kind of critique of Caitlin Clark, because that gives fodder to those who believe she's being hated on and ostracized to some degree. Do you realize that, Sheryl Swoopes, you're insane to do that?
And let's not forget about the Rookie of the Year and MVP awards. Clark's performances have put her firmly in the conversation for both. Many analysts are arguing that her contributions are the reason why the Indiana Fever is succeeding this season. tasting the playoffs for the first time in almost a decade. It's not just about individual stats. It's about making your team better. And Clark is doing just that. So what does all this mean? It means we're witnessing something special. Clark isn't just living up to the hype. She's exceeding it. She's proving that she belongs in the WNBA, and she's doing it with a style and flair that's all her own. Every game, every assist, every three-pointer is a statement. It's Clark making her mark in the game, and we are all witnesses. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. This helps our content reach more viewers like you. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action. As Clark's star rises, an unlikely critic emerges. Sheryl Swoopes, a basketball legend herself, has been surprisingly vocal in her disapproval of Clark. What's driving this tension between two generations of WNBA greats?
If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
Right? If Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record?
The basketball world is buzzing with Caitlin Clark's incredible rookie season, but not everyone's singing her praises. Sheryl Swoopes, a WNBA icon, has taken a puzzling stance against the rising star. It's left fans and analysts alike wondering, why would a legend go out of her way to discredit such a promising talent? Swoopes' criticism of Clark has been consistent and, at times, harsh. On her podcast Queens of the Court, Swoopes notably failed to give Clark credit for the Indiana Fever's resurgence. Instead, she attributed the team's success to other players, completely ignoring Clark's game-changing contributions. Yes, the entire Fever team is starting to fire on all cylinders, and we've made sure to give everyone their flowers. But let's be clear, Clark is the spark that's lighting the flame ablaze. This dismissal of Clark's impact has raised eyebrows across the basketball community.
You know basketball better than me. You know basketball than any of the pundits. You know basketball better than most of the men that play basketball. There is no way in hell you just accidentally left Caitlin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it. You know that. Stop it.
But it doesn't stop there. Swoopes has shown a pattern of reluctance to acknowledge Clark's success, both in college and in the WNBA. During broadcasts, she's remained conspicuously silent when her co-commentators praise Clark's achievements. It's as if Clark never existed for Swoopes, and fans are noticing. So what's behind this surprising behavior? Some speculate it might be jealousy. After all, Clark's rookie year stats are outshining Swoopes' MVP seasons. Let's break it down. Clark's 2024 campaign versus Swoopes' 2002 MVP season. Clark is averaging 19.2 points per game compared to Swoopes' 18.5. Let's now talk about assists. Clark blows her out of the water with 8.5 per game, leading the league compared to 3.3 from Swoopes. Okay, how about rebounds? Clark's at 5.8, while Swoopes is at 4.9 per game. Are we seeing a pattern here? Based on stats alone, Clark is the more versatile player. Now let's talk about efficiency. Clark's effective field goal percentage is at 53.1%, while Swoopes' MVP season was at 45.7%. This means while Clark is scoring more, she's also doing it at a more efficient rate. Now let's talk about defense. This is where Swoopes leads. Clark, this has been a strong suit during her career. Clark averages 1.3 steals per game. Swoopes doubles that at 2.8. Blocks are roughly the same at 0.8 per game for Clark and 0.7 per game for Swoopes. It's a tough pill to swallow when a newcomer starts beating the year you became league MVP. But is that really enough to explain such persistent criticism? Others wonder if it's a generational gap. Swoopes comes from a different era of basketball, and Clark represents a new style of play. Could it be that Swoopes is struggling to appreciate a game that's evolving beyond her experience? Or is there something more personal at play? Whatever the reason, Swoopes' stance hasn't gone unchallenged. Other basketball analysts have called her out for her behavior. Stephen A. Smith, never one to mince words, stated, "No matter how great you were as a player, Sheryl Swoopes, there is no woman who should negate mentioning Caitlin Clark and what she is doing for the game. It's a powerful rebuke from a respected voice in sports commentary.
Sheryl Swoopes, take notes. You ain't playing no more. But you're a Hall of Famer and a champion and a basketball savant. You know good and damn well you had no business talking about the Indiana Fever without mentioning Caitlin Clark. Come on, Sheryl Swoopes.
The backlash against Swoopes has been significant, especially on social media. Fans argue that her resentment stems from Clark's rapid rise, overshadowing Swoopes' legacy. It's a harsh assessment, but one that's gaining traction as Swoopes continues to downplay Clark's achievements. But let's take a step back and consider the impact of this criticism on Clark herself. Imagine being a rookie, fresh out of college, and facing this kind of pushback from a player you've likely looked up to. It's gotta be tough. How does a young player handle that kind of pressure? How does she stay focused on her game when a legend of the sport seems determined to discredit her? These questions lead us to an intriguing point: Clark's response to all this negativity. You might expect a rookie to be rattled by such criticism, especially coming from a respected figure like Swoopes. But Clark's reaction might surprise you. In fact, her handling of this situation reveals as much about her character as her on-court performance does about her skills. Clark's approach to this criticism speaks volumes about her maturity and focus. Despite the negativity, she's continued to let her game do the talking. She's racking up assists, breaking scoring records, and proving her critics wrong with every game she plays. It's a masterclass in professionalism from someone so young in their career. But Clark's response goes beyond just her on-court performance. Her words off the court have been equally impressive. Instead of firing back or getting drawn into a public spat, Clark has taken the high road. She's expressed no hard feelings towards Swoopes and even acknowledged Swoopes' contributions to women's basketball. It's a level of grace that's rare in professional sports, especially in the face of such persistent criticism. This situation raises some interesting questions about the dynamics within the WNBA. How do established players perceive rising stars? Is there a generational divide that needs to be addressed? And how can the league foster an environment where all players, regardless of their era, can appreciate and celebrate each other's achievements? As we move forward, it's clear that Clark's success is the ultimate rebuttal to her critics. Her performances are speaking louder than any criticism, and she's quickly becoming a fan favorite. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the best response to negativity is simply to excel. Clark's success on the court speaks volumes, but her reaction off the court might be even more impressive. How does a rookie handle criticism from a legend without losing focus? Clark's response reveals a maturity beyond her years.
But I also got to tell you, it's another example of the great Caitlin Clark staying above the fray. Sheryl Swoopes won't let anything, including facts, get in the way.
When faced with Sheryl Swoopes' persistent criticism, Caitlin Clark could have easily fired back or let it affect her game. Instead, she's shown a level of grace that's rare in professional sports, especially for someone so young in their career. Clark's approach to this situation is as impressive as her on-court performances, and it's setting her apart in more ways than one. Instead of getting drawn into a public spat, Clark has taken the high road. She's expressed no hard feelings towards Swoopes and even acknowledged Swoopes' contributions to women's basketball. It's a move that's caught many off guard, showing a level of maturity that's well beyond her years. But Clark isn't just talking the talk, she's walking the walk. While Swoopes has been vocal in her criticism, Clark has let her game do the talking. She's continued to rack up assists, break scoring records, and prove her critics wrong with every game she plays. It's a masterclass in professionalism that's earning her respect from fans and players alike. Clark's performances aren't just good, they're historic. She's setting new standards and leaving even seasoned veterans in awe. Remember when she became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 300 career assists? That's the kind of achievement that silences critics better than any words could. And let's not forget about her impact on the Indiana Fever. The team's resurgence and playoff qualification for the first time since 2016 speak volumes about Clark's influence. But perhaps the most impressive thing about Clark's response to criticism is how she's managed to stay focused on her game. While others might have been rattled by the negative attention, Clark has used it as fuel to drive her performances to even greater heights. She's not just meeting expectations, she's exceeding them with class and style to manage the pressure. Let's wrap this up. Caitlin Clark's rookie season is blowing minds left and right. She's not just breaking records, she's redefining what's possible in the WNBA. Her stats are off the charts, averaging 19.2 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 8.5 assists per game. That's better than Swoopes' MVP year. But it's not just about the numbers. Clark's handling criticism like a pro, letting her game do the talking. She's proving that success is the best revenge. Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's changing the game. Her style, her skills, and her attitude are bringing new fans to women's basketball. So here's the big question. Where do you think Clark's career is headed? Is she on track to become the WNBA GOAT? The way she's playing, anything seems possible. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe so you never miss out on the latest news. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.